Hello everyone, this is Chinmoy from Chinmoy's Biology channel and welcome to my channel to a new episode of another disease. Today's disease will be thalassemia, another autosomal recessive disorder. So till now we have done many diseases and the last one was sickle cell anemia. I hope you have already gone through that, and if you have not gone through all the X-linked recessive diseases as well as the autosomal recessive what we have started the last day, please do go through it. I'll be putting the link in the description box, and it is very important for your grade 12th as well as NEET and pre-medical exams. So stay tuned till the end. Today's episode is going to be a very informative episode, and let us see what we are going to learn today. So let us start with a question that what if your body couldn't make enough hemoglobin? So will you have any problem if your body is not making enough hemoglobin? We all know that hemoglobin main function what it is performing, that is oxygen transport. So if it is not transporting oxygen, if it is not present in the blood, so what will happen in our body? So in absence of hemoglobin, we will be anemic as well. So how would it affect our life, daily life? That only we will learn today's class. So what are the things which are happening if we are not having enough adequate amount of hemoglobin, and why it is happening in our body like that, and why the red blood cells are certainly malformed during this disease. This all we will discuss in today's episode. So don't skip in between and stay tuned till the end. Okay, let's get started now. So just now we have spoken about the change in shape of hemoglobin. So the shape and structure of the hemoglobin actually are abnormal due to defective globin chain. So hemoglobin is actually a tetramer made up of 2 alpha and 2 beta globin chains. So whatever changes there happens in the alpha chain, there will be deformity in hemoglobin, and shape of hemoglobin, and beta chains also there will be a change in hemoglobin shape. So however, in alpha thalassemia, what is happening? Excess beta chains form unstable tetramers, and these are non-functional and prone to precipitate, and they lead to abnormal red blood cells shape. Now when it comes to beta thalassemia, excess alpha chains they form precipitate, and which damage the red blood cells. Now red blood cells they become deformed, smaller, microcytic, pale, hypochromic, leading to ineffective oxygen transport. Okay, so thus hemoglobin in thalassemia is always misfolded, unstable and inefficient in carrying the oxygen, resulting in anemia, premature red blood cell destruction. So here in sickle cell what we have studied, the normal hemoglobin is changed into a shape of a sickle, but here there is a less production of hemoglobin as well as deformity in alpha and beta globin chain, which will lead to deformed hemoglobin and which will not be able to transport oxygen properly. So ineffective oxygen transport will happen here. Now in the next slide we will move on to the causes, the genetics, the all the we can say that all the types of thalassemia, how it is, what are the prevention and how it is diagnosed, all in details we are going to discuss in today's slides. So please stay tuned till the end of this episode. So what is thalassemia? Thalassemia is actually a genetic blood disorder that affects the body's ability to produce hemoglobin. So just now we have told that there are deformity or defect in forming the globin chains, that is in the production of hemoglobin both in alpha as well as in beta. So the protein in the red blood cells that carries oxygen. So what is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is actually the protein in the red blood cells which is carrying the oxygen to different parts of the body. So this is what we know, and in thalassemia, the genetic disorder, what is happening? It is affecting the hemoglobin formation. So this details we will study today. So this leads to what? It leads to anemia which can range from mild to severe depending on the type of thalassemia. Right. So it is an inherited disorder, meaning it is passed down from the parents to children. So all of a sudden you can't have thalassemia. It is a genetic disorder. It will be passed on from the parents to the children. If a person, a male or a female, is having thalassemia, all of a sudden it means there is a mutation in the gene which has happened to this led to this disorder, right? So what are the causes and the genetics of this thalassemia? Let us see that. So we have spoken already that thalassemia is an inherited autosomal recessive pattern. It means a child must inherit two defective genes, one from each parent, that is one must come from father and another must come from mother, right? So to have thalassemia major or intermediate. So if only one is inherited, the person is a carrier or a minor thalassemic. So the child, the boy or the son will be minor thalassemic. He will have only mild anemia but generally can lead a normal life. If both the parents are having thalassemia, if one is coming from the father and one is coming from the mother, then the child will be either major thalassemia patient or intermediate thalassemia patient. Is it clear? Now it is mostly common in populations of Mediterranean, Middle East, Southeast Asia and South Asia and Africa due to protective effect against malaria in carriers. Okay, so this is happening in the generally the population of South Asia, Africa, Middle East and Mediterranean. Okay, now the defect could be either by mutation or deletion, which results in reduced rate of synthesis of one of the globine chains. So we have told already it is carried on in generations and it can be caused either by the mutation or deletion of any one of the genes which helps in the production of hemoglobin, and that is why there is a resulting cause. What is happening? Reduced rate of synthesis of one of the globine chains. This results in the abnormal formation of hemoglobin molecules resulting into anemia, which is called the characteristic of the disease. Now it is classified on the basis of the chain which is affected. So if the alpha chain is affected, then it is alpha thalassemia, and if the beta chain is affected, that is the beta globin chain. If the alpha globin chain is affected, it is called alpha thalassemia. If the beta globin chain is affected, it is called beta thalassemia, right? So let us see what are the types of thalassemia and how they are affecting the person. So please don't skip. Let us move on to the next slide. So, if when we come to thalassemia types, we can discuss that depending on the which globine chain it is affected, on that only this types of thalassemia will be discussed. So, alpha thalassemia is caused by mutations in hemoglobin A1 and A2 in that affects the production of alpha globine chains in hemoglobin, that is in chromosome 16. Where is it happening? It is happening in chromosome 16. It is causing a defect in the alpha globin chains, so it is called alpha thalassemia, and severity depends on how the four alpha globin genes are affected. Now first, if they are silent carrier, then only one gene is affected. In this alpha globin genes, only one gene is affected, no symptoms, but they can pass gene to children. Next comes alpha thalassemia trait, then two genes are affected, then it causes mild anemia. So we have told that these are tetramer, that is these hemoglobin genes are all tetramers. We have told it earlier. Now, of this hemoglobin A1 and hemoglobin A2, which are located on chromosome 16, when this globin chains are affected, how many genes are affected? On that, this severity depends. So, if one is affected, it will be a silent carrier. If it is two genes are being affected, it will be a alpha thalassemia trait, so mild anemia. If hemoglobin H disease, when it is happening, when three genes are affected, that is moderate to severe anemia and enlarged spleen will happen. And alpha thalassemia major will happen when four genes are affected. So it's a fatal condition in newborns, and this hydrops fetalis will happen. So this I'll not go into details. What is hydrops fetalis? It is actually severe anemia in the fetus, and there is a fluid accumulation in the body of the fetus, in the lungs, in the abdomen, wherever there is a fluid accumulation. This can lead to even death of the fetus. So this is a fatal condition. So this is all about alpha thalassemia. Now we'll move on to beta thalassemia. Now comes beta thalassemia. It is caused by mutations of gene in HBB gene. So mutations are caused in this HBB gene, which is present in chromosome 11, which affects the beta globin chain. So previous one, it was affecting the alpha globin chains. It was affecting HbA1 and HbA2. Here it is affecting HBB. So that A1 and A2 are representing the alpha 1 and alpha 2 chains of hemoglobin. Here HBB gene represents the hemoglobin beta gene or beta globin chain, which is located in chromosome 11. So there are three main types: beta thalassemia minor, that is a carrier state; mild anemia, often asymptomatic, like that in alpha thalassemia also we have told the carrier one is mild anemic and it is often asymptomatic, but it can pass on to the next generation. Here also same thing will happen. Now beta thalassemia intermedia is moderate anemia, may need occasional blood transfusions. Beta thalassemia major is Cooley's anemia. It is also called Cooley's anemia. Here severe anemia requiring lifelong blood transfusions and iron chelation therapy. So this is what is beta thalassemia major or Cooley's anemia, right? So now we will move on to how it is detected, this thalassemia, and what are the prevention and cure and what are the treatment of this thalassemia. So what are the symptoms of thalassemia? Symptoms may vary on the severity of the condition. Mild thalassemia, carrier or minor, mild or no symptoms. In mild thalassemia, slight anemia and low hemoglobin level. So this is in case of mild thalassemia. What in case of major thalassemia? So in case of moderate to severe thalassemia, intermediate or major thalassemia, severe anemia will happen. The person will have severe fatigue, weakness, paleness, delayed growth and development in children will happen. Bone deformities will be there, especially in the face and the skull region. You can see there are deformities in the skull as well as in the face region due to bone deformation and bone marrow expansion. Then we can say that splenomegaly. What is splenomegaly? That is enlarged spleen will happen. Enlarged spleen will happen and liver also will get enlarged. Frequent infections they'll have, and as they are getting blood transfusion, iron overload due to repeated blood transfusion will happen, which can damage the heart, liver, endocrine glands as well. So whenever there is more iron in your body, then also there is problem. And as they are severely anemic, they are being given blood transfusion either monthly or in a week, and also it can cause to severe accumulation of iron in their body. So that is also a problem. So what are the diagnosis of thalassemia? How it is done diagnosis? Thalassemia is diagnosed through several tests. First one, complete blood count. It detects anemia, abnormal red cells, blood size and all. It is detected in the complete blood count, which we generally we get it done regularly almost. So doctor will give us this complete blood count to see whether we are anemic or not. So there you can see in that test you can see the red cell size is there. So there abnormality of red cell size will show you that there is thalassemia. Now hemoglobin electrophoresis, that is identifies the abnormal hemoglobin pattern. Genetic testing is there which confirms the mutation in HB alpha and HB beta gene. So this is alpha and this is beta gene. So that will confirm the mutation in HBA and HBB genes. Prenatal testing, that is when the baby is in mother's womb. Prenatal testing, that is amniocentesis or the chorionic villus sampling or CVS, can diagnose the thalassemia before birth as well. So if it is detected before birth, if there is a time to terminate the pregnancy, the doctors will try their best to terminate the pregnancy then only, because if the baby is born after that, there are through lifelong the process goes on. If the child is a severe major thalassemic and all, but blood transfusion, several type of disorders will keep on continuing with the child will suffer. So if prenatal testing is done, they'll try to abort the baby, and so that life is saved to suffer throughout the from this blood transfusions and all. Okay, so what are the possible treatments done in case of thalassemia? Let us see that. So treatment and management, when we come to this, there one and only the main thing is that blood transfusion should be done lifelong. Regular blood transfusion every 3 to 4 weeks for severe thalassemia is to be maintained to maintain a normal hemoglobin level. Then comes iron chelation therapy. What is that? After frequent transfusion, iron overload leading to organ damage. So iron chelation, like drugs like deferasirox, deferiprone, Thalassamine. These are the drugs which removes excess iron from the body. So these are the iron chelation drugs which are helped in doing the iron chelation therapy. Then bone marrow or stem cell transplant is done. The only potential cure for thalassemia is bone marrow transplant, which involves replacing the diseased bone marrow with the healthy stem cells from the matched donors. Usually it is a sibling. If they are having a brother or a sister, from their bone marrow the stem cells are taken and they are inserted into the affected individual, and this bone marrow therapy is actually very effectful and they are helping a potential cure for thalassemia patient. Now this gene therapy is under experimental process. Scientists are exploring gene editing techniques to correct the faulty hemoglobin beta genes and alpha genes. So they are trying to detect those genes, and if they can be cut out from that place and another newly formed gene without the defect can be inserted in that part. Okay, so the gene therapy is under process and it has not yet been introduced yet. So there are medications and lifestyle changes. Folic acid supplements are there to support red blood cell production, avoidance of iron rich foods, those who are receiving blood transfusions, and vaccinations are also there to prevent infections because they are prone to several infections. There are several vaccinations which can prevent them from certain infections. So now we will just go to a point where we will learn what is the difference between sickle cell anemia and thalassemia, because those both are autosomal recessive disorders and both are caused by the hemoglobin deformity or production only. So let us see that. So what are the key differences? So the key differences are actually in sickle cell anemia, the abnormal sickle shaped RBCs are produced, leading to pain and blocked blood flow. We have done this lesson in details in the previous class. Please do go through it. I can't explain it here again. But in thalassemia it causes reduced hemoglobin production, leading to severe anemia. So there is a basic difference. Here they are producing hemoglobin, but abnormal sickle shaped hemoglobin are produced. But here hemoglobin production is only reduced. So severe anemia is happening and RBC is being destroyed. So RBC destruction is also being there. So both require lifelong medical management. But bone marrow transplants offer a potential cases in some cases. Okay, though it's not in all cases, but in some cases bone marrow transplant can be a cure. So this is all for thalassemia in today's class. I think I have covered almost all the topics which are related to thalassemia. Please do subscribe to my channel because more important videos on diseases are yet to come, like Klinefelter's disease, Down syndrome, Turner syndrome and all, which are very important for your NEET exam as well as your other pre-medical exams as well. So stay tuned, stay updated with all the lessons I'm posting. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot for watching.